I used to think I just needed to push a little harder. One sleepless night wasn't a big deal. A jittery morning, trembling hands from coffee, totally normal. A few mild panic attacks while driving, probably just stress. Everyone gets tired, right? That's what I kept telling myself for years. In fact, I became so used to that state that I thought it was normal. Waking up with my head as tight as a wound string, feeling my heart race before I'd even brushed my teeth, meeting friends while my mind spun endlessly. How can I get home as quickly as possible? I started avoiding phone calls, delaying emails, not wanting to open my eyes in the morning, yet unable to go back to sleep. My body ran as if it was in a race against something invisible, all day, all night. And the strange thing is, no one saw it. I still went to work, still smiled, still posted weekend picnic photos, still replied to texts with "I'm fine" like a robot. But inside, I felt like I was sinking. And the scariest part wasn't the feeling itself. It was that no one truly believed anything was wrong. I started to wonder, maybe I'm just too weak. Maybe I'm broken. But later I realized it wasn't my mind that was broken. It was my body sounding the alarm. And I didn't know how to listen. There was no magical turning point. No flash of light in the dark. No wise doctor appearing with a perfect solution. Just me, utterly exhausted, finally admitting that I was no longer living in sync with my body. I remember clearly the first morning I truly listened to my body. I turned off the alarm. Not because I wanted to sleep in, but because I didn't want to start my day with that frantic blaring like a siren. I sat up slowly, didn't touch my phone, just listened to the ceiling fan spinning and felt my feet touch the cold floor. That sensation, the soft chill on the soles of my feet, was something I hadn't noticed in years. That day, instead of diving into my inbox, I took a walk. Just 15 minutes around the block. No podcast, not a calorie-burning walk. I simply wanted to give my nervous system a chance to breathe out, and what I discovered was unexpected. When I lifted my head, I saw light. Real light. Soft, golden, warm, gentle like a greeting. I heard birdsong, not from YouTube, but from an actual branch on a rooftop across the street. That was the first moment I felt the world wasn't against me. I started changing other small things. I stopped drinking coffee after 10 a.m., not because someone told me to, but because I noticed my body would begin to lightly tremble in the afternoon, my heart racing in ways I used to blame on work stress. No, it was cortisol, pushed too high by caffeine right when my body needed rest. I learned to write a few lines in the evening, not to analyze my inner self like self-help books suggest, but to remind myself that not everything was awful. Just 3 lines. Today, I saw wildflowers by the roadside. Today, I replied to an old message. Today, I laughed when the neighbor's dog chased a bicycle. 3 things, simple, but like thin threads that kept my heart from unraveling each night. I also began learning how to say no. A small word, but to me, it felt like a revolution. No to late meetings that had me home after my child was asleep. No to midnight texts demanding urgent replies. No to the version of myself that insisted I must always be strong, always have answers, always show up for others. And you know what? As I began trimming back, the cortisol inside me also began to settle. No more 3 a.m. wake-ups soaked in cold sweat. No more heart pounding like a war drum every time I opened an email. No more fake smiles when my mind was in turmoil. I started sleeping again. And that was the greatest miracle I've ever experienced. Not a healing from outside, but a homecoming from within. Life didn't become perfect, but it became more real. And I became more real with myself. If you're tired and don't know why, if you sleep 8 hours and still wake up like you've just run a marathon in your dreams, if you're living but constantly feel like you're just hanging on rather than truly existing, maybe the problem isn't you. Maybe it's a defense mechanism in your body, working overtime because it thinks you're in danger. Cortisol isn't the enemy. It's your protector. But if you don't learn how to calm it, it will believe you're always in a war zone, and your life will be ruled by something invisible, the stress hormone. But trust me, you don't have to live like that forever. You can begin again with very small steps. A slower morning, a meal without rushing, a no to things that drain you. Give your body one clear signal. Everything is okay. I am safe. The body settles. The mind softens. And for the first time in a long time, you will actually feel life gently flowing inside you. If today's story resonated with you, leave a comment. Tell me what you're going through. We may not know each other, but I believe genuine sharing is always the first step to healing. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit like, so the algorithm understands that topics like this deserve to be spread. And if you'd like to keep walking this path of slowing down and living more honestly, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be back each week with small stories, just enough to warm a weary soul. Thank you for staying till the end. Wishing you a day gentle enough for your heart to finally breathe out.